Hi everyone and welcome to Left Off the Map for another fantastic episode, focusing a lot on olive oil this time. Now, when you think of olive oil, the first thing that comes to mind in my head is bruschetta. So bruschetta is a classic Italian dish which is built around olive oil. The generally understood understanding of where bruschetta started was that olive growers would bring their olives into town to be pressed and for the olive oil to be that first press of the extra virgin olive oil to come out, and they would get some bread, dip the bread in the oil to taste and see what the quality of the olive oil was like. And that then sort of transferred into olive oil and bread, and then putting toppings on top. So the classic bruschetta is olive oil on bread, toasted. Now, it has to be toasted because then the juices and everything don't make the bread soggy. So I've got a few slices of sourdough here. A good quality olive oil, drizzle some olive oil on each piece of bread, and then into our griddle pan. So olive oil side down. And then while it's in there, I'll drizzle the other side with a little bit more olive oil. While that sourdough toasts, I can start to get ready the topping to go on top of our sourdough. So I need a bowl. I've got some tomatoes, a little bit of sugar, some red wine vinegar, garlic, capers, red onion, and some basil. I'll start with my red onion. Just want to dice this, so chop it in half. Using that claw technique that we've learnt about. So vertical first, then a few cuts horizontally. Diced red onion, pop that into a bowl. Now, depending on sort of how big your bread is going to be, will decide sort of how finely you chop everything. I've got quite big pieces of sourdough, so I can afford to chop things nice and chunky. So my tomatoes, for example, if I was using sort of a baguette and it was a small piece of sourdough, I would need to probably dice these. But because we're using quite a big piece of sourdough, I can just cut them in half and then sort of roughly roll chop them, and then they can go in as well. Have a look, turn that over. Turn that off. So I'll just grab a piece out and show you. So just get your garlic clove, rub it on top like that, and the coarseness of the bread will sort of grate your garlic, so you can see how much that's taken off. And that's just been lightly infused into that sourdough now. So we're going to do that with each piece of bread. Tomatoes. And I like doing it hot just because the little bit of heat that's left in that bread helps just soften the flavour of the garlic. So it doesn't, raw garlic can be quite astringent and a little bit harsh, a little bit bitter. By getting it on there while it's nice and hot, it just helps mellow that out a little bit. Capers, like I said, I just want to run the knife through them. Don't worry too much. Again, because we've got nice big pieces of sourdough, we can get away with it. So that's probably enough. That in. Good pinch of salt. Tomatoes love salt. So we need a good pinch of salt, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of red wine vinegar, just to almost make a dressing around bruschetta. So, oh, and olive oil. Can't forget olive oil. Some good quality olive oil again. Give that a stir. Right, that can sit for half an hour to an hour and be ready to go. Clean up this little mess that I've made here. We'll get our sourdough out and start preparing our topping to go on top. Everything's been allowed to sit for 5 or 10 minutes just for things to calm down. The bread has cooled slightly. It's still nice and warm, so once we put that tomato on there, you're going to get those smells sort of coming through, which the heat allows that. My tomato mix can have its basil added now, because we're about to serve. So get a few leaves of basil, 5 big leaves there. Just line them up on top of each other. So they're stacked on top. And just run your knife through. Now, bruschetta, and I'm pretty sure that that is the correct Italian pronunciation of it, bruschetta. From region to region in Italy, it has a different take on it. Our bruschetta mix now, or bruschetta mix now, which has got our basil through it. Spoon that on. And the basil still stays nice and vibrant because we've added it right at the end. So it's a great little snacky type thing, just to fill a hole at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's nice and fresh, it's very healthy, so it's a good one to go to. But it relies on the quality of the ingredients. Now, to learn a little bit more about quality olive oil, we're heading to Freycinet to catch up with Henry Terry and learn a little bit about the olive processing here in Tasmania.
Claude, thanks for having me in Freycinet Vineyard Olive Grove.
You're very welcome.
Jacks of all trades. You've branched out from wine, excuse the pun, into olives.
That's right, yes. It's another string to our bow, the olive grove. We've had this olive grove since 2013.
And so tell me, East Coast Tasmanian olive oil, how does it go?
Oh, terrific. Yeah, no, it's the climate is nice and cool in Tassie generally, but the olive trees are really happy here on the East Coast. It's nice and cool, not too wet, and which is, they grow really well, the trees. Yeah, so these trees are from around the late 90s. These were planted by the original owner.
Okay, so they're a fairly mature tree, I suppose. How long does an olive tree produce for?
Oh, it's incredible. In Europe, you go to Greece, Italy or Spain, you'll see trees that are hundreds of years old.
Amazing.
Yeah, they just, once they're in the ground, they just keep going. Yeah, I think there's still some about 700-800 years old. Yeah.
So hopefully these will be here for generations to come.
Yeah, hopefully so.
These olives, they seem a little bit smaller than the olives I'm used to seeing in a deli or a supermarket that I'd eat.
Yeah.
Is that how they're supposed to be?
That's right. They're the olive oil varieties are usually a bit smaller.
Yep.
Then table olives are usually a bit bigger, and that so. But Yeah, look, it's really amazing. Like with our cool climate here, you know, it's a long, slow-growing season, and that's really good. The olives pick up all these lovely polyphenols and lovely oleic acid, which is the natural acid of the olive, and lovely grassy, peppery flavour. So you can make beautiful oil here in Tassie, and when you pick the olives is important. If you pick your olives mostly green, you won't get much oil, but you do get that really intense pepper. It's almost like a chili burn on the back palate.
I think that's like a really, that's a very Tasmanian thing with olive oils. You often quite get a peppery taste.
That's it. Yeah, and if you pick them all black, you get more oil, but not quite that pungency. So with my oil, I love to just pick the olives when they're sort of half green, half black, just on the turn. And for me, that's worked well. It has been a steep learning curve for me since 2013, since having the Grove. But I've just had some beginner's luck or early success. Some very high-end establishments love using my oil, and so it's made me realise how ordinary a lot of the supermarkets oils can be, but there's good and bad wherever you go, I suppose. But yeah, no, it's a really special oil. It's got so much flavour, you know. I really can't help myself. I use it on salads, steamed veggies, just, you know, grilled fish, you name it. Use it on everything. Yeah, so they say not to use it in cooking, but gee, I can't even help myself with that, pan frying an egg or whatever. It's so it's the health benefits for good olive oil are amazing, and cardiovascular, it helps a lot of things. And if you read all the things that it's good that's good about it, you'd be crazy not to use it in your diet. You know, it's great product, yeah.
Well, I'm just playing with one in my hands. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, I've been doing the same, and
they use it. I know they use a lot of olive oils in skincare, and I can sort of see. I mean, the colour in these olives is insane. There just must be so much goodness in there, but you can also feel. You can feel the oil.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's nice and slippery on your hands, and these are very ripe, these olives, and so they've got good oil content.
How do you get this? This little olive with a heap of pip in it into a beautiful, smooth, peppery olive oil.
Yeah. Picking olives is quite a job. You know, it's very labour intensive. We've got this tree shaker. It's like a big tractor with a boom, and it clamps onto the tree and shakes away. And we roll out some tarps, and we pick our olives that way. And then de-leafing is an important job because a fair bit of leaf comes into it. So we de-leaf it, and then take it to our processing plant, and then its first step is to wash the olives, and then they go through a mincer and crushes the olive pips and all, you know, just totally minces it all up, and then it sits in a malaxer for a 30-minute period, and then the oil starts to slowly separate, and then we put it through a centrifuge machine that spins 5,000 revs and separates the oil from the waste.
Okay.
And my loaf of bread's fairly close by as the oil's coming out. I just can't help myself. I'm digging into it. Yeah. So that's the process. It's just the juice of the olive. So nothing. It's different to wine. You don't have to ferment it or age it in a barrel. That's the process. Quite a simple process.
And where would you go to get some of your olive oil?
Here at our cellar door here at Freycinet Vineyard. That's probably easiest place to find it. It's a bit hard to find it. We don't make a lot. It's a bit hard to access. So we haven't. Some of the better delis around Tassie we would supply, but we can't supply mainland Australian market.
Cool. Thanks so much for your time in the olive grove. I'm not sure how I'm going to get this off my hands, but if you ever want to try your produce, it's definitely worth the trip to Freycinet Vineyard and Olive Grove.
It's been great having you and telling you all about my story with the olives. And the sales room, you can taste the oil and enjoy it, see what it's like.
Good quality olive oil really does make the difference in a lot of cooking, especially if you're not heating things or cooking at a high temperature. That olive oil flavour really does permeate the dishes that you're cooking with. All right, moving on to our next recipe for the day. I love cranberry and turkey sandwiches, and what I love about it is the inside, the flavours that you get inside, especially from the soft cheese, whether it be camembert or brie, the sweetness of the cranberry, and that savouriness of the turkey. So I'm going to play on those flavours and make a roasted brie with infused flavour of cranberry and turkey. So I'm using camembert. You can use camembert or brie. Just need a soft wheel of cheese. Cut it through the middle. Pop the bottom half or one half of your cheese into your little roasting tray. These are cranberries, dried cranberries that have just been reconstituted in some hot water. I'm going to spread them out. And then my turkey, place on top. Turkey on top. Then our other cheese half on top of that. Just push it down. I've got my oven set at 180 degrees. Pop that into the oven. It's going to take probably about half an hour, which will give us just enough time. I'm going to pickle some vegetables to go with this because this is going to be really quite rich. I've got my sourdough there to be able to scoop it up, but as a refreshing snack in between our cheese, we're going to pickle some different vegetables. So I've got fennel and a zucchini. I'm just going to make a simple cold pickle. Pickle them for as long as we can pickle them for while this is roasting, and we'll have a nice refreshing snack. All right, while that cooks, a small saucepan, 200 mils of vinegar. It's about 200 grams of sugar, 1 to 1. Lemon juice, just to flavour our pickling liquor. So it's got a nice lemon flavour to it, again a nice refreshing flavour. So the juice of a lemon. Pinch of salt. We've got sweet, sour and salty. Give that a stir. All I want is for the sugar to dissolve into the vinegar. So while that does its thing, I'll get my vegetables ready. Zucchini. So a mandolin is the best way to go for this. Zucchini slices. That's the thickness of the slices that I want. Always be careful with a mandolin. Remember that every time you pass the vegetable back across the blade, this bit's getting shorter or closer to the blade. So we've got all of our zucchini sliced. Pop that into a bowl. Same with our fennel now. Our fennel pieces can go in. Once that has dissolved or is very close to dissolving, we can add a little bit of water. I don't do fully 1 part, so I go about half of what we added in our video, just because I like my pickling liquor to be nice and strong. I like the vegetables that I'm eating to have that really intense pickle flavour. All right, sugar has dissolved. Add my water. I'm just going to let that cool a little bit. Once that's cooled for about 5 minutes, I'll pour it on top of our vegetables, and our vegetables will go in the fridge for half an hour. The cheese has got about 25 to 30 minutes left in the oven. It's just started to melt, which is great. While that's melting away in there, I've put my pickled vegetables, my fennel and my zucchini, in the fridge to cool. I want a cold pickle. I want it still to be nice and crunchy. So they're in the fridge. Once our cheese is done, take it out of the oven, serve it in the bowl that it's roasted in, and serve it with some crusty bread and a bowl of the pickled vegetables. The pickled vegetables are there for that refreshing break that you're definitely going to need from something that's so cheesy, so fatty, and so intense in flavour. Hope you enjoy these recipes at home, and we'll see you next time on Left Off the Map.